Hey y'all! Welcome to the Stitch and Story Lounge. This is a space where we stitch together and talk about stories. Sometimes those stories come from a TV series, sometimes a novel or an audiobook, sometimes a movie, and sometimes just life. A soft place to land for busy hands and relaxing minds. There's no rush, no pressure, just yarn, hooks, needles, and a little light commentary for grown folk. So grab whatever you're working on, crochet, knitting, slow stitch, or if you're just listening, because you got a thing for Will Trent, love, you're in the right place. Hey, so come on in here, love. Yeah, you. Don't act brand new. You know this seat is saved just for you. I want to update y'all on my whip, my work in progress. I'm still working on that quick and easy shawl called The Wedge by Susan Kennedy. You can find her over on YouTube at Pretty Peaceful. I'm using Karen Cakes in the red velvet colorway with a 7mm hook. All right, now. Today, we're back with Will Trent. Season 4, Episode 3, Studio 4B. And, ooh, love, so far this is my favorite episode. Now, see here. This episode didn't ease us in. It didn't say, good morning, good afternoon, nor good evening. It just walked us straight back into unfinished business. We open with Will standing in front of a half-dressed woman in her apartment, telling her he can't put her back in jail the way she was. And she looks at him like, well, then don't. Then love. Bam! Cut to Ormwood in the hospital. Buzz-cut hair, face tired. Doctor talking about brain tumors and gasoline-smelling urine. And I said, oh, Lord. So we're doing health scares and emotional baggage in the same breath? Season 4 said, we're not separating trauma anymore. It's all one pot now. And whew, we finally slide into the murder. A beautiful young model at a photo shoot. Soft lights, professional vibe. Photographer wearing gloves. Then we see the shadow of a knife. We don't even see the stabbing because they knew we couldn't emotionally handle that. Next shot, the model is on the floor. Blood everywhere. Life gone. Enters Faith. Calm, sharp, and standing there with confidence in some yellow and white, everything that's old is new again shoes, like, don't play with me, I'm here to work. And then there's Miss Boss Lady, Amanda standing there with her cane, her badge, and her don't try me energy, while fussing Will out for being late to the crime scene. Faith calling out wounds, angles, blood patterns. Then they flip on the black light. And love. That room said, y'all thought this was one moment? No, ma'am. This murder was a whole production. Now cue Will. Lost. In the same building. On the 4th floor. Dyslexia's doing cartwheels in his brain. He's on the phone with Amanda like, I'm here, but I'm not here, which is basically Will Trent's whole life in one sentence. And in the next moment, here's where Ava re-enters our boy's life. She shows up in the present day, while Will is at the elevator trying to find the crime scene. Lost, confused, already irritated with himself. She enters, blonde, with that British accent and her confidence intact. Will Trent, is that you? And he brightens up like a porch light at dusk. She says she misses the suits. He says he misses her, then realizes he said her, then stumbles, then smiles like a man who forgot how to flirt. She tells him, It's never too late to decide you're ready for something new. And when she taps her phone to his, now you have my number. Honey bun, that was an airdrop. That was emotional Bluetooth. Then she tells him how to get to the crime scene. Because Ava always knows where Will is supposed to be before he does. Then she walks away, and Will stands there smiling like a man who just remembered he still has a heart somewhere under all that trauma. Oh, come on now. We're sliding into that sweet middle stretch of the episode. You know, the part where the show loosens its bra strap, lets the other folks shine, and allows the comedy to stretch its legs real nice. Couch pillows fluffed, tea sipped, remote secure. Segment 2, let's hit it. Meanwhile, while Will and Faith are over there doing crime scene poetry, Polaroids, art angst, and egos with body counts, we got Ormwood, his daughter Angie, Nico, and bad bitch Betty out here doing what's supposed to be a nice, gentle, doctor-approved neighborhood walk. Now let's be clear. This ain't about the dog walking per se. This is about Ormwood's daughter quietly clocking her daddy like, "Sir, you've been in that house too long. The doctor said gentle exercise, not rotten place. Put your shoes on. We're walking." And Betty? Betty is dressed. Little pink harness, little pink leash. She looks like she's headed to brunch with the girls, not about to sniff out a felony before lunchtime. So they stroll along, minding their business, and they pass by that neighbor's house. And Betty loses her mind. Barking like she just saw a ghost, a demon, and a bad credit score all standing on the porch together. Nico's immediately like, "Betty, no, remember what I told you." Because come to find out, this neighbor's been sneaking Betty cookies behind Will's back. Which is rude, dangerous, and absolutely grounds for suspicion. Because you ain't gonna give my dog unauthorized snacks and expect peace. Next thing you know, the leash slips, and Betty takes off into the backyard like, "Y'all cute, but y'all slow. I'll circle back." Door opens. The Addams Family twins answer. Stone-faced. No warmth, no vibes, no cookies. And then bam! Door slams. And Betty comes back with blood on her paw. Ormwood looks down, real calm, real steady, and says, "That ain't her blood." And listen, when a cop says something like that without raising his voice, that means the episode just changed lanes. Now, here's what I loved about this part. The way the show splits the teams and lets everybody do what they do. While Will and Faith are drowning in art crimes, vintage film, and wounded male egos, the other half of the team is holding court in Ormwood's office. Ormwood's instincts? Sharp. Angie's skepticism? Necessary. Nico's standing there looking like she wishes she could melt into the wall and respawn later? Relatable. And Betty? Already 10 steps ahead, mentally filing paperwork no one asked her to fill out. They don't rush it. They don't force it. They let Ormwood be a dad. They let Angie be a partner. They let Nico be observant. And they let Betty be exactly who she is. A bad bitch with a nose for nonsense. This ain't flashy police work. This is that quiet gut feeling kind. The kind that says, I don't have proof yet, but something in that house ain't right. And while Will is lost in the model's murder, Ormwood is lost in his own head, thinking about his health, thinking about his kid, wondering if he's still useful. Which makes Angie's next move hit extra sweet when she says, "Let's do a stakeout." Girl, that man perked up like somebody just told him recess ain't canceled. And I said, all right, now, let the man sit in a car and feel needed. Segment 3. Now, while Ormwood and Dem are out here doing Scooby-Doo neighborhood detection, Will and Faith slide over to confront the photographer. And listen, from the moment they step into this man's loft, the vibes are off. Because why do they find this grown-ass man fully submerged in a bathtub full of bubbles like a Calgon commercial? If you know, you know. And breathing through a straw like he's training for a very sad Olympic event? Faith and Will just standing there like, "Sir, oh no, not today." Will does not hesitate. He reaches over and puts his finger over the hole of the straw. And baby, that man pops up out of that tub like a startled seal. Naked, wet, angry, yelling about harassment and boundaries. They restrain him, throw a robe on him, and start questioning him right there in his own loft. Faith's like, "Close your legs, sir." Because at this point, it's not even police work. It's basic decency. And once he realizes the performance ain't working, oh, now he wants to talk. He admits he sometimes uses rare film and vintage cameras. Expensive, specific, hard to find. And then he drops a dime. Gideon Barnell. Old money. Wealthy collector. Obsessed with death imagery. And I said, "Oh yeah, so we're moving into billionaire creep territory now." The photographer explains that Barnell hosts private monthly gatherings and surrounds himself with artists who love photographing things that don't breathe anymore. Which is when Will and Faith exchange that look like, "Yeah, that's our next stop." Because whenever somebody rich is collecting death like Pokemon cards, it's never just a hobby. Cut back across town. Ormwood and Angie return to Mr. Shaw's house. Only this time, the Addams family twins ain't answering the door. Instead, the actual homeowner opens it. And the neighbor, Mr. Shaw, ain't being neighborly. And honey, on top of that, this man got a fresh, suspicious gash on his face. Angie immediately clocked it. He says he fell. She says, because that story don't sit right. He gets defensive. Short answers. Energy tightens up. And before they can ask anything else, bam. Okay, another door slammed in their faces. Angie turns to Ormwood like, "Oh, hell no. Something's not right in that house." And Ormwood doesn't even argue. Because when Angie, Miss I don't jump to conclusions, says something feels off, you believe her. Okay, it's time to hit the couch commentary button. So now we got a naked photographer screaming about harassment. A rich man collecting death like decor. A neighbor with mystery wounds and a bad attitude. This episode is officially locked in, and the couch consensus is clear. Everybody's lying. Everybody is hiding something. And Betty is still the most reliable. And baby, she's got this whole episode on lock. Oh, yes. Now we're fully in the "this escalated quickly" portion of the program. Let's keep it rolling. Segment 5. You know, rich folks be weird. So now Will and Faith go undercover to Hugo Barnell's little soiree. And first of all, when a rich man invites you to a party and it's full of taxidermy, that's not a party. That's a warning. Run, Forrest, run. Ava gets them the invite because of course she does. And baby, she walks in like she owns oxygen. Will and Faith cleaned up real nice too. Undercover chic. GBI, but make it cocktail hour. And Hugo, that old creep, Hugo is delighted. He proudly parades them around his house like it's a museum of things that used to breathe. dead animals, decaying art, still life pieces that ain't still enough for my spirit. He's talking about death like it's fine wine. Ah, yes, decay. Beautiful, isn't it? No, ma'am, and no, sir. I'd be out. Ava is playing the social game. Charming, curious, smooth. Faith is right there too, nodding politely, eyes saying, "Don't play. I will arrest you in these heels if I have to." Hugo gives them a whole tour, leaning hard into his obsession. And at this point, I said, "Boy, he's committed to it." Now back at GBI, Faith does what Faith does best. She tracks that rare film. And wouldn't you know it, it leads straight to Alex, the landlord's son, where the murder took place. So Will and Faith head over with a warrant. Miss Valentina, the building's landlord, opens the door, confused and offended. "A warrant? For my place?" "Yes, ma'am, for your place." They go straight to Alex's room, searching, looking. Quiet tension is building. And then they find it under the bed. A framed triptych photo. 3 images. The victim alive, the victim dead, the victim dead again. Professionally framed, mounted, displayed. Silence. We hear Alex come in. Mom. Sees the photo, sees the agents, and just deflates. He says, "I messed up. Mom, I'm sorry. I just wanted to help." Through his tears, he looks like he's about to cooperate. Looks like he's ready to sit down and talk. Will steps in with that calm voice like, "We just want to talk." And Lord, before anybody can finish a sentence, Alex turns and jumps straight out of the window. Just like that. No warning, no buildup. Gone. And the room goes silent in that way that lets you know, honey, this case just shifted again. Meanwhile, back in the car, Ormwood, Angie, Nico, and Betty are still on that stakeout. And now they get word that the Addams family twins from earlier, they bail jumpers, which immediately turns suspicion into confirmation. And like clockwork, Betty escapes again. Because Betty does not believe in waiting for backup. She slips her little self through the dog door. Inside the house, the twins are tied to chairs, alive, panicked. The homeowner claims, "They tried to kill me." And all hell breaks loose. Confusion, yelling, movement. And love, that old man bolts on a bicycle. Now listen. Now this is where the episode humbled everybody. Chaos breaks out, and that old man does not grab a car. No ma'am, no sir. He hops on a little girl's bicycle with a handlebar streamer and takes off. Ormwood looks up like, "Oh, hell no," and starts running. Not sprinting, a determined jog. Breathing hard. Doctor's warnings flashing through his mind, life flashing. Meanwhile, the old man is pedaling with purpose. Streamers flapping, knees high, fully committed. A random jogger passes both of them. Casual, healthy, rude. Ormwood bends over, hands on his knees, about to meet his maker. Then something kicks in. Somehow, he digs deep, finds a reserve he didn't know he had, and tackles that man on the grass like it's Sunday football. Both of them laid out, staring at the sky. Couch commentary button. So now we got rich people fetishizing death, a son who couldn't live with what he did, a mother in denial, and Ormwood proving he still got it. And through it all, Betty remains undefeated. Yay! So now the dust settles, and it's heavy. Segment 5. Alex's mother is sitting in the ambulance, wrapped in one of those silver emergency blankets, sedated, because life done hit her all at once. And while the emotions are loud, the evidence is quiet but solid. Those negatives from the shoot are recovered, which means the truth ain't gone nowhere. It just took a minute to surface. Will takes those negatives straight to Ava to develop. Not the GBI lab, not the system. Ava. And listen, one thing leads to another. Film developing, lights low, feelings unlocked. They get intimate, and it's tender, not messy. Until Faith calls. Because she always calls at the wrong, right time. 2 fingerprints on the knife. Alex and someone else. And you can feel the shift. Because whatever piece Will was touching, it was temporary. Faith goes to check on the mother. And guess what? She's gone. Which immediately tells you this story ain't finished talking. Cut to Ava's place. And baby, the mother shows up with a knife. Demanding the negatives, blaming Will for her son's death. Grief loud, logic gone, pain driving. Will tries to talk her down. Faith shows up, and Ava fires a warning shot. Enough to say, this ends here. And it does. The mother is arrested. The truth is secured. Meanwhile, the neighbor case gets wrapped. The Addams family twins, they were a part of a criminal group sent to retrieve Mr. Shaw after he'd tried to quote-unquote retire from the business. So yes, Betty was right, as usual. Ormwood is cleared to take time off, and when he gets home, his daughter quietly takes care of him. Blanket, food, love. No words needed. And now, the gentle landing. Nico drops Betty off with Will. Betty's now rocking a little sweater and a badge like she earned both. Ava comes back one last time. Thanks, Will. Gives him a photograph she took of him when he wasn't looking. She tells him, I see you. Will admits he's in therapy, and instead of running, she reassures him. No pressure, no drama, just honesty. She leaves him with space, not fear. Will sits down, picks up his recorder, and says, not everything has to be so serious. And for once, it sounds like he believes it. Couch consensus. This episode closed softly. Justice served. Hearts cracked, not shattered. And Betty remains the real MVP. That's where we'll leave it for tonight. So go on and take a deep breath. Set your work down. Stretch your fingers if you need to. Or add one more row if that's how you process. We'll be back soon to pick up the stitches and unpack whatever this man gets into next. I'll see you next time, love. You're always welcome here in the Stitch and Story Lounge. P.S. And if you're feeling like you need a little more of Stitch and Story so you can finish out your project, just check out the Stitch and Story playlist. Mwah! Be gentle with yourself, love.